Witchers, welcome back to the Witcher Lorecast. This is your host, Tom, or Robots, and I'm here with Toasty. And Toasty, we're talking about something that I think is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure that this is one of your favorite types of things also.
Monsters?
This is the specific kind of monster. What do you think? I mean, just in general. Broadly.
I mean, like in general, yeah.
I think you're a vampire, dude. You're
the specific one.
Into vampires.
I was like,
maybe not this like, specific right. Vampire,
I mean,
but like
it's pretty cool. This one's pretty cool, honestly.
Vampires in general, though, pretty cool.
Definitely,
pretty cool.
Definitely
monster.
Like vampires. Big fan of vampires.
Yeah, man. How's it going?
Good. I'm on a weird work schedule right now, so I'm just kind of like here or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I worked Thursday. I was off Friday, I work Saturday, off Sunday, work today, off tomorrow.
That's weird. Like every other day. Yeah. So that's part of why we're rearranging things. We're still earlier than usual. So it's like 5 p.m. as opposed to 9 p.m. 5 p.m. is now our regular live stream time for doing the show on Mondays. Next week is our patron episode. So that goes back to 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, in order to make sure that it's more accommodating to our patrons to be able to join us. So come join us for that. But this week we've got another Bestiary, or Bestiary. I always want to say Bestiary. Bestiary. We've got another Bestiary because it's Spooptober. It's the best month of the whole year. We got to talk about monsters.
Yeah, it's almost over, Tom.
It's almost over. It goes so fast.
Sad.
So fast.
They already got Christmas stuff on the shelves, my guy.
Son of a crap. What are they doing?
It's rough.
Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about Alps. Alps specifically, a type of vampire.
Yes. There's a lot of different vampires in Witcher. So talking about Alps today. Start with a journal entry, as always. No other monster inspires so many myths and fallacies as the Alp. People believe that this vampire is able to turn into a black dog or a venomous toad. They mistake Alps for succubi, believing them to be lecherous and inclined to seduce handsome young men. Folk tales describe their charm and their beautiful, seductive voices, as well as their loathing of virgins.
Loathing of virgins? What?
It's just a high schooler. It's just
no.
Bully.
I get like kids, kids. I don't like kids, but like specifically, that seems the opposite of like, I don't know. Most creepers are like virgins.
Yeah. It's just high school. You're just getting bullied for being a virgin again. That's what that is. You know. What is true beyond any doubt is that they move noiselessly and attack by surprise, rarely giving their victims as much as a chance to scream in terror.
Nice. All right. I'm ready to get into this because this sounds super cool and weird at the same time.
Definitely. Especially once we get to the actual mythology, it gets even weirder. So Alps or Alpors are members of a vampiric race which inhabits the lands of the Northern Kingdom since the conjunction of the spheres, which occurred around the 230s BR.
That tracks.
Other names, Alpor or Phantom or Fleetling. Cool. Of course, they are of the classification vampire, and languages are the vampiric language, and they are able to learn common speech.
Okay. So
kind of blend in a little bit, which is worrying as always.
So they're not the kind of vampire that just like absolutely looks horrific and doesn't fit in with regular people. Yeah. They're the kind that can walk among humans and they don't really even know. Yeah,
I even get they do look a bit off, but like, I think that if they tried, they could definitely pull it off. I did give you a link to a picture if you want to show our audience.
Yeah, I'll pull this up. Hold on. Oh yeah. I remember this one. So
it's the Gwent card.
Explain what they look like.
So they are humanoid in appearance, actually pretty similar to humans. Skin color is a pale white, so just general for lack of sunlight. Their hair color is red, and they have pointed ears similar to elves, and then are invisible to magic scanning. So they're one of those higher level vampires that doesn't appear to the magic sense of like the Witcher medallions.
The medallion.
So they can they don't get triggered magically. And as far as their appearance goes, except for like kind of their beastly kind of appearance because they kind of have like, the fangs and claws look. And then they have like kind of, from the pictures I saw, they have like a weird like spotted or scaled kind of pattern along like their chest and down their legs, which is a bit interesting.
Right.
But I imagine you put clothes on it.
Yeah.
You don't see that, and you could just pull off a human look. So
right, clothes and a hat, or maybe they look kind of elfish because of the ears, but you cover up the ears, don't show the fangs, don't show the claws, wear some gloves. They fit right in.
Exactly. In many ways, Alps are similar to two other species of intelligent vampires, Mulas and Bruxa, although seemingly less powerful than the latter. Silver used in the form of weapons or chains, on the other hand, can hurt them, and so they tend to avoid it. So silver jewelry or anything like that, could definitely be a trigger for them.
Sure. Or a silver sword.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a problem.
Yeah. While resistant to sun, along with mulas, bruxa, and higher vampires, they tan to almost black if affected by it too much.
Oh man, that's cool.
It kind of chars their skin if they're in the sun too much. So it's not like they're not like super bothered, but it can present to be a problem if they're around too much. So
yeah, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Like they don't have to worry about it too much, but there's still a drawback.
Mm-hmm. They prefer to prey on sleeping people and creatures. They put targets to sleep by injecting a somniferous substance causing nightmares.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jeez. Why am I having so many nightmares? It's probably just the Alp that's, tracking you every night, warming you up before it feeds on you.
And they do all noted Alps are female. Or have the appearance of female.
Okay. So never a male appearance.
Yeah. So in the Witcher 1, because they're both in 1 and 3, they have an immunity to fear and resistance to stun attempts, and are of course susceptible to silver and vampire oil, as you can imagine.
That makes sense.
As far as their tactics go, they attack by surprise, try to daze their victims, and drink their blood.
Nice. And they drop items as well for like alchemy, right?
Yep. Alchemical items, they drop abomination lymph, Nazen salts, and Alp fangs.
You can steal their fangs. You kill them, then you take their fangs with you.
Yep. They can be found in the Elven Ruins, the House of the Queen of the Night, various crypts, and the Swamp Cemetery.
They're kind of one of the like more just kind of common vampire-like monsters you come across in the game, right? They're kind of like that like fodder type of enemy.
Yeah, although they are like a lot more difficult. Is it kind of as far as what I'm seeing here is that they rank kind of like third as far as like the hierarchy of like powerful vampires, because you generally higher vampires, of course, being the top, then Bruxa are typically the next highest in power, and then Alps appear to be third highest. So they're still incredibly strong.
Right.
And I believe that in the Witcher 3 trailer, that is an Alp that he is fighting.
Yes, that is a cool trailer.
So yeah, that trailer. We've showed it here before. So
right. But in the sense of like the gameplay design of the game, these characters aren't really as big of a problem as obviously as a higher vampire or something like that. But they're more difficult to fight than a little tiny monster creature, a drowner or something.
As far as sources you can find, one of the many old peasant women in Murky Waters will give Geralt's journal entries for Alps and their alchemical components in exchange for something to eat.
She's just hungry.
Yeah. And then the book Vampires, Facts and Myths. And it can be noted that although their remains always have a chance to drop the Nazen salts, they will not contain Alp fangs without the Alp entry in the journal's bestiary. So you do have to get the notes. That was one of the things about Witcher 1 that was annoying, of like, you have to go find the information book on them before you could harvest things. And then you were just like, oh, I can't get that component.
You have to know you're trying to get it from them before you know to take it from them after you kill them. So they don't actually spawn in the world until then.
Yeah. Zahin Schmartz states that Alps inject their victims with some sort of anesthetic. Hence, getting them the nightmares, then feeding on them while they're sleeping. And it appears that the Alps you can kill inside the House of the Queen of the Night during the quest Blue Eyes in Chapter 3 might not drop any Alp fangs despite having the Alps Bestiary entry.
I wonder if that's a glitch in the game. Yeah.
Probably. It's The Witcher 1. There's glitches everywhere.
Yeah. So we don't see any of these in The Witcher 2, but we do see some in The Witcher 3.
Yeah, specifically in Blood and Wine, because they only appear in that DLC, which they show a bunch of different vampires in that DLC.
It's a vampire focused thing, so it makes sense.
Yeah. So they only, of course, occur in Toussaint. They are susceptible to Yrden, vampire oil, moon dust, and black blood, which we see representations of all of this in that same trailer, where Geralt, of course, does Yrden for like trapping, moon dust to like mark its location whenever it turns invisible, black blood because vampires bite you, then they get poisoned by it. So of course you can loot monster bone, vampire blood, vampire saliva, and vampire fang. And Alp Bestiary entry can be attained by reading the book Alps, Bruxa's Dangerous Cousins.
Cool. Okay.
Again, we see this relationship to Bruxa with the quote, looked like a Bruxa, but that was no Bruxa. So obviously there's a bit of confusion around them. I wonder, which this is kind of a little bit of a side tangent here, but just if they are to present us with an Alp in the show, I wonder how similar those will look.
Right, because we have seen the Bruxa, yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine that they would give the same appearance of like the weird like ring teeth mouth.
Yeah,
I really hope that they would, to be fair, because that was unnerving.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. But maybe from a distance, maybe it's one of those things where like if you see it at a distance, you see the silhouette of the creature, then you don't know yet because they do similar things. They act in similar ways. They're both vampires. And so there's enough to be like, well, is that a Bruxa? Is it an Alp? I don't really know.
Yeah. So Alps are vampires that resemble Bruxa in appearance. They are called phantoms by some, a name which fits well enough for, like phantoms, they haunt and torment men. They usually take on the form of a woman, though they can also appear as animals. They are most often found prowling near villages. They attack at night and are most active when the moon is full. Alp saliva can make one fall asleep, and when applied to a sleeping man, can invoke horrible nightmares.
So the toxin's actually in their saliva. Yeah.
Some suggest they are the cause of legends about men who go to sleep healthy and are found in the morning white as snow, not a drop of blood in their veins.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, me too.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, but it sucks.
Yeah, you got calling sick to work. Why are you calling in sick? Well, I don't have any blood in my veins anymore.
Not a single drop of blood in my veins. So, I need a day to recover.
I'm out of blood.
Yeah. In combat, Alps display supernatural speed and incredible, even by vampire standards, stamina. One must aim one's sword with great precision, for Alps are unequaled in the art of evading blows. The Yrden sign is recommended for it weakens an Alp's defenses. Another strategy is to drink the black blood potion, for Alps suck the blood of their victims to deprive them of strength and regenerate their own powers. Man,
I love this freaking universe with all this stuff. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good. Like the little details about like The Witcher knows that these are the things you have to look for, and so therefore can do these things, right? And that's part of what even gives them a chance at all, as opposed to like the commoner or whoever who just has no chance.
It's all in the preparation.
Right. Yeah. It's so good.
Unlike Bruxa, Alps cannot turn invisible, yet like Bruxa, they emit a shrieking noise whose shockwave can incapacitate. Their greatest asset is their agility, and they can leap with uncanny lightness that appears to border on the power of flight. When in human form, they easily blend in with the surrounding community, which makes them very dangerous indeed. Okay, so yeah, I guess I did get a look with the appearance. I guess they made them as quite similar. I've never paid quite attention in Witcher 3 of like how similar the appearance. So I guess the one we see in that trailer is a Bruxa, but she does specifically look the same and have red hair. So
yeah, well, it's part of the confusion. which one is it?
So it's like you see it and it's the same thing, but then it turns invisible and you're like, okay, that's a Bruxa. That's like the one thing specifically that kind of separates them from the sounds of it.
The one most obvious thing. There's the screaming, there's the ability to dodge things, but it might just be a very talented Bruxa.
Yeah. Similar to Bruxa, knocking an Alp down with the Ard sign may allow you to finish it in one strike. Otherwise, coat your sword with vampire oil and maybe drink some black blood. Alps are extremely fast and prefer dodging to blocking, unlike Bruxa. They also often jump out of sight to either drop down on you or prepare their shriek. It is advisable not to waste too much time trying to chase down or go toe-to-toe with an Alp. Avoid the shriek. Otherwise, stay in place and block, preferably with a Yurden sign down.
Nice. So, all right. So that's the lore side of it, and that's from the games and things. But after the mid-break, of course, we have the real-world mythology and inspiration for these, which is always a treat. And you're saying
you'll enjoy this one. It's some weird stuff.
Nice.
It's very weird.
Awesome. Well, don't go anywhere. We got to thank our patrons. We'll be right back.
Very well. Let us get this over with. Something has infested my vineyard.
Great. Let me go prepare my something oil then.
All right, patrons, thank you so much for supporting the show. We couldn't do this without you guys. All 19 of you currently. I think that's a record. I don't think we've ever been to 19 before. Thank you for your support. And if you would like to check out all the different things you can get, like ad-free episodes, joining us on our patron chats, which is just a week away from today as we record this. So Monday night, the 31st, Halloween night. It's getting spoopy. We're talking Witcher stuff on Halloween night. Come join us. You can do all of that at patreon.com/Witcher Lorecast. And we don't have any new patrons this week, but we do always shout out our higher vampires, Ben of Temeria and Jared M. Thank you so much for your support, and all 19 of you. Thank you so much for helping us out. Toasty, we've got a new review that came in this last week. This is on Apple Podcast, which, by the way, if you leave a 5-star rating and drop us a review, we will read it out on a future episode of the show. So it's your way of getting your words on the show. This one is from Blade Gwyn JS in Great Britain. And I think the actual pronunciation of that is different than what I just said, because it doesn't look like the spelling.
How's it spelled?
Blaid. Isn't that something? Blaith or something?
I think because Geralt is Gwynblade. Or something, or like that's like a term.
Is it? I thought maybe it was like a Welsh thing where like the letters don't sound like what they're supposed to sound like.
It might be. It sounds like the reverse because it's
Gwynblade,
like Blide Gwyn, Gwynblade.
Yeah, that maybe. But they wrote just fantastic, 5 stars. I love this podcast. Hearing the guys' enthusiasm for all things Witcher and the care and attention and humor they bring to each topic is such a pleasure. I'm on my 3rd playthrough of The Witcher 3, and I've learned a lot, which has added to my enjoyment of the game. Would highly recommend. Thank you so much for that. That is amazing. Another way you can help us out is leaving a review, or not a review, but a rating on Spotify. You can do that. They haven't added reviews yet, which is so strange to me. But you can give us a 5-star rating on there. All of that is helpful in getting other people to know that this is a show that's worth checking out. So we very much appreciate that. Any other news or details before we move on? Anything else going on, Toasty? Nope.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, we look forward to chatting with you guys next week for the Patreon episode. So make sure you are joining us if you can, and chime in, patrons, on the Discord and the Patreon channel in order to make sure that you get your ideas in for what we should talk about. We could talk about monsters in general. We could talk about specific monsters. We could talk about game stuff. We could talk about book stuff, whatever you guys want to discuss. Throw some ideas out there. We'll see what everybody agrees on, and we'll go from there. All right, let's move on with the rest of the show.
You smell of death and destiny, heroics and heartbreak.
It's onion.
Right, yeah.
All right, we're back, and we've got some real-world mythology to talk about here, and a very creepy-looking picture.
Yeah, it's definitely. It's not that like kind of attractive redhead anymore.
No, it's not sexy vampire. This is like creepy demon that sits on your chest in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Kind of vampire. Whew. So tell me about this. What is this guy?
Get into it then. So an Alp is of Germanic folklore, specifically.
It's a mountain range. Germany borders on the Alps, right? Is my geography right here?
I don't know.
That's right.
My world geography.
It's north of the Alps.
Teacher was a coach. So yeah,
Germany and then like places like Italy are all border on the Alps, which is a lot of mountains full of vampires. Clearly,
that's fair. And specifically, Alp is the German word for elf. Interesting fact. So the Alps history originated in the mountainous regions of Germany and Austria. So there you go.
There you go. Those mountains are full of Alps. Be careful. Ski instructors probably know. Ski instructors are like the witchers out there.
The Alps Tarncap, which there's going to be a lot of pronunciations that are probably going to be awful here. I'm just going to warn everyone in advance. The Alps Tarncap, as well as its demeanor and abilities, suggest that the dwarf king Albric from the Teutonic epic poem Nibelungenlied is the source of inspiration for much of its mythology.
I know a lot of the words in that sentence, but I don't know what that sentence means. I don't even know all of the words in that sentence.
Yeah. In Teutonic myth and folklore, Alps were considered friendly elf-like beings which lived in the mountains, but eventually turned more negative and malevolent.
Oh, no.
The Alp, in many cases, is considered a demon, but there have been some instances in which it is created from the spirits of recently dead relatives, more akin to a spirit or a ghost. Children may become an Alp if a woman bites a horse collar to ease the pain during an extremely long and torturous childbirth.
What? This is another one of those things that you're like, there's probably one very specific reference somewhere in history, but otherwise it makes no sense.
Exactly.
Woman bites a horse collar to ease that, like, you know how like in the movies when someone's like, here, bite on this, and then they do something to like, you know, chop somebody's arm off because they're turned into a zombie or whatever, right? And usually it's like a stick or like something like
leather,
strip of leather, right? It's a horse collar specifically, which would be a strip of leather probably.
Yeah. Moreover, if a woman who is pregnant is frightened by an animal, the child may be born an Alp.
Oh, geez.
While stillborn infants are also suspected to return from the grave as Alps and torment their family.
There's so many ways to become Alps.
Yeah, it's not great. People who have eyebrows that meet are suspected to be Alps.
That's a genetic problem.
Apparently, so is being an Alp. So they believe.
Oh, no. That's just like an unfortunate hereditary thing where you're like, my eyebrows grow together.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
As with the case of werewolves, sometimes a normal human or animal may become an Alp during the night. They are typically unaware of their nocturnal activities and are invariably in disguise while doing so. Finding an Alp while it is not active simply requires injuring or otherwise marking it during one of its attacks and seeking out the being with a similar mark during the day. The person can then be cured if it is found out who sent them the curse or how they became cursed to begin with. Witchcraft is often the prime suspect in this case.
Wait, okay, so not only like you bite on a thing during childbirth, a pregnant woman sees or gets scared by an animal, all of these other things.
People with unibrows.
Right. And if it's not one of those things, then it's probably witchcraft. And if it is witchcraft, then you can track somebody when they turn into an Alp by putting a mark on them, somehow safely getting away, and then finding that mark on the person in the morning when they wake up and they don't realize what they were doing all night. Kind of like a werewolf.
Yeah.
Huh.
But wait.
But there's more.
There's more.
Oh.
Sometimes an Alp is a spirit summoned by a witch or an evil person wishing harm on another and sent to torment them. But it may also have been expelled by the breath of the Horetzi, a German demon which exhales vampiric butterflies.
What? Wait. Horrorczy. Okay, Horerczy.
I think that sound is like a ch sound,
Horetzi?
right?
Horetzi? We don't know we're not good enough to do this stuff. But a German demon which exhales vampiric butterflies. Isn't that like the butterflies? Did you watch what was that DC show on with the Peacemaker? Did you watch Peacemaker? It's hilarious.
No.
There's like alien butterflies on that show.
These are vampiric butterflies.
These are vampiric butterflies.
How do vampiric butterflies vampire?
Yeah, Hortzy.
They don't got teeth.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. Or is a demon of Germanic mythology, which not much is known of this creature. It is known for its connection with the Alps, vampiric beings that hide in the mouth of the Hortzy. So some Alps are actually just the creatures that the Hortzy spits out. This is nuts. This is crazy. All right, let's move on.
Alps are creatures that appear in nightmares in the middle of the night. This mythical creature would appear in the dreams of men and women, but prefers to disturb women more. Which, fun fact, the difference here, that in The Witcher, Alps only appear to be female, but generally in the actual mythology, Alps are male.
So they flipped it for
primarily,
the Witcher. Yeah,
and they have a counterpart known as a mare that are female,
kind of like succubus and
incubus.
Yeah, that's the other
one. But if the mare, if you remember, is that like a nightmare creature, which we talked about because it was in Nightmare of the Wolf. They expelled a mare from that lady, and then it like ran away. So, and I also come to think about it, that elf. Like the elf curse that was like mutated with the mare in that does appear to look like an Alp, or like really similar to an Alp. I know she's not. She's just like a weird hybrid elf mare thing.
Right.
But the appearance was pretty similar. I thought about that when I was
I wonder
looking at this. I was like, that's cool.
It seems like it was probably intentional. That's cool. That's cool.
Probably.
Yeah.
It is defined by the Althduchus Warterbuch as a nature god or nature demon, equated with the fauns of classical mythology, regarded as eerie, ferocious beings. As the mare, he messes around with women. They could manipulate dreams to their liking and would create horrible nightmares. And this is probably why Albtraum is the word for nightmare in German, which if translated literally would mean Alp dream or elf dream.
It's so cool. Yeah. This connects to so many things.
Yeah. An Alp attack is also called an Alpdruck, or often Alpdruck, which means elf pressure.
I hate when I get elf pressure.
Yeah. Other than manipulating dreams, they like to sit astride a sleeper's chest and becomes heavier until the crushing weight awakens the terrified and breathless dreamer. The victim awakes unable to move under the Alp's weight, and this may have been an early explanation for sleep apnea and sleep paralysis, as well as night terrors.
We see this with a lot of the monsters, where like throughout history, people were trying to explain what sleep paralysis or night terrors were. And so many times it's like, it's a demon, or in this case, an Alp, a vampire, like something, a witch, some sort of evil force that's doing it to you. When really it's just our brains are weird. Thanks, brains.
I mean, like, because I've never experienced sleep paralysis or that like thing.
It used to happen to me more when I was younger.
Yeah, I know people like talk about how like they genuinely they refer to it as like their sleep paralysis demon, because they see like the shadows being weird, and it like usually looks like some sort of like creepy person or something.
I've never seen like shadows or any weird. I've never seen an image of like a dangerous, scary being. But what is so scary, well, at least in my version, especially when I was younger, like I would do something like fall asleep on the couch or something, right? Like on the weekend as a teenager, you're like, I'll just take a nap on the couch, and then enter a state before I woke up where like my mind was waking up, but my body was still not functional. And I remember feeling like I just couldn't move, like I needed to move, but I couldn't. And like, it's just like struggling inside my own brain to just like make my body move, make myself wake up. Like I need to wake up. And it was like this feeling of like needing to do it, even though I didn't need to do it. I could keep sleeping. So I get kind of where people are coming from, but fortunately it wasn't, I mean, it's uncomfortable more than it is scary.
For me. A lot of people talk about it being scary, or they like refer to their sleep paralysis demon. I hear that a lot. It's like,
that's a real thing.
I've never experienced it, so I can't like relate, but
it's weird. It is weird. You hear people talking in the room, like you are otherwise aware, you just can't do anything. I have to wonder if being in a coma for some people is kind of similar to something like that.
They are often associated with vampires because they would drink blood from the nipples of men and young children.
Wait, what?
Though women are the preferred victim to get the extra taste of breast milk.
I know I like to put milk in my coffee. That must be what this is like.
I guess.
Oh no! Why the nipples? If you get the breast, it makes sense for the breast milk, but like when then you go to the men or children, and you're like, just this is the spot I like it normally anyway.
Specifically because most of the accused, like, or most of the people that are considered to be Alps are made that way from like childbirth scenarios.
Maybe
because it's like the child from the woman biting on the horse collar, or getting scared while pregnant, or stillborn baby. Maybe because they are like infantile in nature, they are like nursing, but it's blood rather than
I could see that justification. And yes, Rob says, Tom, you like breast milk in your coffee? Hey man, don't knock it until you tried it.
Dear God. Well, there goes the explicit tag right there. That's the winner right there.
Every episode's got to have one.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on.
Alps also exhibit a tendency for mischief similar to elves, like souring milk and rediapering a baby.
Wait, rediapering? Like
this would be like putting the dirty diaper back on it?
I suppose, because if you just change the diaper again, that's kind of helpful usually. You're like, this one's a little wet, put another one on. Thank you,
putting the dirty one back on.
That's weird. That's real weird.
A maid must sign a cross on the diaper, or the Alp will put the spoiled diaper back on her child. So there you go.
That's it. Yeah. And this is the sign of the cross. This is clear. Like we're moving from like old lore, like pre-Christian stuff to like post-Christian stuff, where they started incorporating these old mythological ideas with the more Christian focused population. And so they're like, well, if you put a sign of a cross on it, then Jesus will protect the diaper. Thanks, Jesus.
Jesus is busy enough. All right. He ain't got time for that. They also enjoy tangling hair into elf knots or chewing and twisting horses' tails.
That sucks.
They will ride a horse to exhaustion during the night and may sometimes crush smaller farm animals to death during a pressing attack. Alps are also similarly blamed for minor illnesses and milking cows dry, for they enjoy the taste of cow's milk as well.
However, milk's milk, right? Right, yeah. Rob?
However, the Alp is best known for its shape-shifting abilities. They can change into cats, pigs, dogs, or even small white butterflies. It has also been said that it can fly like a bird and ride a horse, but to know that the animal is a shape-shifting Alp is by the hat it always wears. The hat is known as a Tarn cap, which means magic or camouflage hat that gives them the power to turn invisible and maybe even shapeshift. The hat is always visible no matter what shape the creature takes. An Alp who has lost its hat will offer a great reward for its safe return.
Oh man, that's super weird because it totally just doesn't make you invisible anymore because you can still see the cap. Also, who is making these Tarn caps and how much do they cost?
It's a pretty good cap. Like,
I mean, are they born with the cap on?
Shapeshift?
Yeah.
That's pretty nice cap.
What?
I don't know. Like, I'd be like, if I found one of those and then an Alp was like, hey, by the way, like I'll pay you so much money if you could give that back, I'd probably be like, nah, I think I'm gonna keep it.
I could just haunt your dreams, sit on your chest and like murder you, but instead I will pay for it.
Yeah, like I think I would just keep it. I'd just be like, yeah, it's a pretty powerful item. Like honestly, this is like, it's like finding a rare D&D item. Like you just gonna give that up?
Yeah. And clearly because it's more willing to pay you than kill you, it's not interested in killing you, so it'll just let you go.
Yeah. Where you just turn invisible and hide from it so it can never find you. Unless it looks specifically for a hat, I guess.
The floating hat. That must be an Alp. Or somebody who stole the Alp's hat.
Yeah. Protections against an Alp include laying a broomstick under a pillow, iron horseshoes hung from the bedposts.
Also do that anyway.
Placing shoes against the bed with the toes pointing toward the door.
Every night.
Placing a mirror on the chest.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know it, but I'm protecting myself, and I didn't even
apparently realize. Steel and crosses are also used. If awoken by the Alp and finding him still there, one can address him by asking him to return in the morning to borrow something or have coffee.
Hey, buddy, I'm totally not cool with the nightmares or you feasting on my blood or my boob milk. You want to just come back in the morning and get some coffee?
This is
okay.
some coffee.
That's cool.
I'll save the boob milk for the coffee, like how Tom likes specifically.
I prefer.
Yeah. The Alp will dash away at once, arriving in the morning either in his true form or else in the form of a human with eyebrows that meet to receive his gifts. Plugging up any holes, specifically keyholes, before a visitation will keep the Alp out, but plugging them during a visitation will invariably seal it inside the room, as they can leave only through their original entrance.
Wait, so they shrink down and go through the keyhole, and then that's how they come in?
I mean,
that's the only hole in the house.
In as butterflies.
That's it. Like chimney, nah, not that. It's just.
Well, I mean, they can come in through. It seems like any entrance. You just have to like plug up all of them.
Oh,
but if you find the one that originally left in, then it just can't leave.
They don't know how to get back out. They're like,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, I'm stuck here now.
Opening the door, never heard of it.
This is my home now. Yeah.
Yep. Which, I guess if you wanted to like lock it in the room forever and then just sleep on the couch from then on, then you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
You just be like, all right, you stay. This is your room now, whatever. Don't care. I'm going to get some sleep over here. Nightmare free sleep.
Unless you want to just come back for coffee in the morning. Bring your unibrow. Yeah.
Yeah. A light kept constantly on during the night will also be effective. The Alp appears all but impossible to kill, and sometimes even after being turned away, it may reappear years later in a worse mood.
Well, you don't want to piss off an Alp.
You don't.
That's what I've learned.
They hold grudges, apparently.
Yeah, they come back. They're like, where was that coffee?
Dude, I love this mythology. It's wild.
This thing's nuts. This is one of the best ones we've done.
I think there's only one that I liked more than this, and that's the Leshy.
Yeah, the
Leshy was just really silly.
Yeah, that was.
This one's silly. Probably my second favorite because it's just wild.
The irrational nature of these things is just so wonderful, and sometimes you don't know. Is it irrational or is it just very specific to a situation that happened like one time and then rumor got passed down because of it? Like this unibrowed guy invaded my home at night. I totally thought he was a monster. I covered the keyhole and he couldn't get out because he was insane. I don't know.
Maybe.
And then that story gets passed on.
A crazy guy enters your house at night with a unibrow and then sits on your chest while you're sleeping, and you wake up because obviously there's a really like a big heavy dude on your chest while you're trying to sleep, and you're just and you're like trying to get him off. It doesn't work. You can't move, and then you're just like, you want some coffee in the morning? Maybe like come back in the morning. We'll have coffee.
What if we just? I can't breathe on my chest. How about you just come back for coffee? We talk it over. Okay. Thank you. Oh, thank you. By the way, I didn't plug the keyhole. You're welcome to go back out the door you came in.
And then because you're knocked that you're lacking oxygen, it looks like he went through the keyhole, but he just like opened the door and walked out.
You just start hallucinating.
But you're down on air. You're like because he's been on your chest this whole time. So You're just like,
it's legitimately.
He totally went through the keyhole, right? Like that's how he.
This is sleep apnea.
He must be some sort of monster. Yeah,
sleep apnea is a monster. This is what we've discovered it. Man, this has been fun. This is a really good one. What's even more terrifying is if these things actually are real.
I mean,
like, what if the ridiculous nature of all of this stuff were like, what do you even like? How would you even know to do any of this to deal with it? Like, how would you have discovered that these things work? Because they're not rational things to even try to do. I think I'm being haunted by some sort of monster thing.
Let me put a broomstick under my pillow.
I guess I'll sleep with a mirror on my chest. Like
that one seems kind of logical. Like that, to
keep it from sitting on you, so it sees itself, and then it realizes it doesn't think that it's on you. It thinks it's on itself.
Yeah, like it was, or like the reflection, like your reflection's like scary or something. Yeah. So it's like that one kind of like that one's the most logical. But like what conclusion leads you to think that a broomstick under your pillow is gonna save you? Like,
or
what
shoes pointed at the door?
Yeah,
on your bed.
Like the light on, sure, makes sense. The mirror,
yeah,
a little bit of a stretch.
You can make it,
but like you could probably make it work.
Right.
But like broomstick, horseshoes on your bed, like.
Yeah, I don't get it. Weird stuff.
Like it's just like, was it someone with weird decoration tastes? And then they were like, like they just decorated their house just for like shits and giggles. And they were just like, oh, well, I mean, I was having this real problem with this Alp, but like, I don't know. I just said like
accidentally left some horseshoes on my bed last night and he went away.
Yeah, like it's the only change I made. This must be what happened, right? Like,
or like garlic for vampires in general. That idea of like hanging garlic will keep them away. Like,
or like,
how do you even discover that?
The Alp was plaguing your like farm animals. It killed your horse, and you were like, "Well, I really loved my horse, Susan. I don't know what a horse name is. Susan, like, so you know, to remember her, I hung up her horseshoes on my bedpost, and my farm animals have been fine since. You know,
everything's better.
My cows, they're producing milk again. They're not dry anymore.
My wife's been bleeding from her boobs. We probably have an Alp.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh dear.
Oh man. All right. Well, on that note, Jesse, you got anything else going on you want to share before we head out?
Usual, follows the Witcher Lorecast on Twitter. Check out the Cyberpunk Lorecast that I do with Genesis on Thursday nights at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific at the Cyberpunk Lorecast Twitch channel.
Or anywhere you get podcasts.
Or anywhere you get podcasts, yep. Or check out Actual Play Cyberpunk Red podcast that I do with Almighty Crit and Fumlik 4 Gang, Cyberpunk 'D. Cyberpunked.
Nice. Yeah, go check that stuff out. There's links on the robotsradio.net website for all of those shows. For this show, for my shows, the other Lorecasts I do, Lord of the Rings, Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Mass Effect, Starfield, as we get closer to that, it's going to ramp back up again because we're hopefully getting a release of that in the first half of next year. So go check that stuff out and come hang out with us on our live streams, twitch.tv/robotsradio. Come, you can check out the show. You can join me for some of my game streams Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I'd love to get to know you, hang out with the community. We've got a bunch of people over, Toasty, did you know 3,000 people now are on our Discord?
Holy shit.
3,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people. So come hang out with us. We'd love to get to know you. All right. That's going to do it for this week. We will see you next week when we're going to chat with our patrons. So get ready for that. Stay safe out there during Spooptober week, where the Spooptober event happens a week from where I'm talking right now. All right. Because bye. Bye, everybody. Bye. See ya. Thanks for tuning in to the Witcher Lorecast. We'd love to hear about your experiences with the games and the books and the TV series and all your thoughts on everything. Please check out the Robots Radio Discord and follow us on Twitter at Witcher Lorecast.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.
All right, say it, Testy. I skipped it. Say it.
Shave your unibrows and stay safe on the
Bye, everybody.
That's all.
Shave your unibrows and stay safe. Disguise that you're an Alp because of your unibrow. Don't go around harassing people with unibrows, by the way, after listening to this episode.
Don't do that.
They're already suffering enough.
Oh, Jesus.
It's an unfortunate.
I'm not safe. Wait. Oh, no, Rob.
Oh, no.
Is Robin out?
It's an unfortunate situation.